Quiet on the set. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on December 1st, 2021. Who can believe it? I have to say something, first of all. What's wrong with Americans? We have our Thanksgiving in Canada like in the beginning of October when the weather's still nice. It's 2 months away till New Year's and Christmas. These Americans, they have their big Thanksgiving holiday at the end of November, and then nobody has to work for the next 4 weeks because it's holiday time at Christmas and New Year's. It's the craziest thing, and they think they're the smartest people in the world. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out there. We got a great lineup. I can't remember how to say the guest's name. He was just on a few months ago. It's Andres Jonsson. Okay, but he says it differently. Go ahead. Shoot. Tell us how to say your name.
Andres Jonsson.
Andres Jonsson. And he's from Iceland, and he brought his buddy, okay? His buddy's name is Tinni, and that's Tinni. And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Rin Tin Tin. Anybody here? And the tagline was, Yo, Rinny! Yo, Rinny! Anybody remember that? Yo, Rinny? Not even Rich?
Crickets.
Okay. Anyway, so Tinni, tell us your name.
It's Tinni. Well done.
No, Tinni Johansson or something like that, right?
Johannesson. Yeah, Johannesson.
Do you say Johannesson? Do you say?
Yeah.
It's not Johannesson?
Well, in Icelandic, I would say Johannesson, but
that's what we want. We're real here, okay? We're authentic, and we respect everybody's diverse culture. So if that's how you say it, that's okay with me. Okay, yeah. Rich has gone already. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about? Anybody got some pressing issues, or do I ask all the questions? Anybody? Dualta usually. I didn't introduce Dualta. Dualta. You know what? I tried very hard to find a URL for this guy, a domain name. I can't. So just look up Dualta, Dualta, Doherty. And
time to get him a website.
If you're on, I can't see you, Michael G. Cox. If you, if you can come up with one, I'll buy it. Rec Wired. That's his group on Facebook. Have I wasted enough time? Why is Michael G. Cox invisible? He's just a disembodied voice.
Hang on.
Anyway,
Dualta. He doesn't know what to do if he can't see you, Michael.
Yeah, Dualta. Do you have anything you want to talk about or ask these two Icelandic guys?
No, I'm just here for shits and giggles.
It's shit and giggles. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. Well, I've got
That's
something.
the tagline for the show, actually.
I've got 130 odd recruitment finders meeting in London tomorrow. Do you think that's irresponsible given the COVID times?
Yeah. Just don't make out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bad hair. Okay. Somebody said on Facebook, I had a video interview with a candidate. I want to send him or her, I'm not sure which it is, for an interview, but he needs to brush his hair. How do I tell him or her? I think it's a her. How do I tell her that she needs to brush her hair? Andres, you first.
Just talk about general appearance.
You wouldn't confront it directly? I'll tell you right away what I'd say. Hey, honey, or sir, or buddy, you've got to comb your hair. I mean, you can't go looking like a slob. Come on, I'm your trusted advisor, okay? Take it from me. Brush your hair before you go to a meeting, or even if you're doing it on video, okay? Tinni,
you
what would you
violated
say?
Already, like.
Go ahead, Andy. What? Andy,
you
go
violated
ahead.
Already like 10 etiquette rules. Just in those, your comments already violate like 10 different rules of etiquette. In my mind.
Yeah, I don't understand what he's saying. I'll go to his buddy Tinni. Tinni, if you were doing a video interview with your candidate and it was a good candidate, but he looked sloppy, what would you say to him? Anything?
Nothing.
Why?
Why would I? Do you think
To
they're
make
going to
it
brush their hair?
presentable.
Do you think they'll brush their hair when they start working at the place?
Who cares? The thing is, no, seriously, you don't want bias. I mean, the person will make a bad impression. The stupid hiring manager won't be thinking about their substantial issues. They'll be distracted by his bird nest hair. Okay. And then once he's there, it's not an issue. What he can actually do becomes the issue. Michael G. Cox, anything on that?
I guess it would all depend on the size of the offensive hair, but they're not going to change.
That's not the issue here. Do you really think it's an issue if the person has bad hair once they're in the job, unless they're, selling perfume or something like that over a counter?
If it's not going to be an issue when they're in the job, then for that organization, maybe it shouldn't be an issue when they're.
I think there's a
doing the
difference. Dualta, are you with me on this? Anything, or I don't want to wake you up. Sorry.
Don't ask Dualta about hair. Come on.
Oh,
That's not
Why?
nice.
He used to have it.
does. All right. So what I would do is I would kind of imply it. So I'd get them to do a bit of research on the company and I'd be like, have a look at them. You can see that, they're all quite presentable. Are you ready for the interview? Do you have any questions you want to ask me about it?
That's not
And
going
then-
to work.
I'm shocked, everybody. Nobody, Mr. Empty Chair.
Mostly
he
though,
might-
it doesn't matter.
he
these
might
days,
go
does it?
with me,
Not
okay?
everybody's remote.
The rich is very direct. I'm going to vote for him. He's with me on this. Okay, so nobody else does. They're all very indirect. Last question. Oh, I'm just wondering if it was a guy, if you would feel more comfortable telling him than if it was a woman. Nobody.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, because they could accuse you of being sexist, if not. Hey, we've got our buddy Clang.so here, another European. Okay, does anybody give presents to their clients for the new year? I tell you right away, I don't believe in presents. It's like a bribe. Anybody?
I used to do that. Now I'm not sure anymore about that. I mean,
What did you give?
like special chocolate from like some exotic, where I'm from, like where my family is from, and like it was very like actually super big effort like to get this stuff, and some were super happy. Wow, this is so wonderful, and others just go like go. We don't care.
Chocolate's not bad because it's a modest gift. Tinny, what would you do? Do you give gifts?
I think I'd rather give them an experience and time with me because that's a win-win, right?
That's the gift.
He's a modest guy. Tinny's a modest
It's a
guy.
gift
Yo,
to be with
Tinny. I
Tinny.
like that. Okay. Anybody else?
So just on that there, that's exactly what we're doing. We're bringing 130 of them on the piss in London tomorrow. And the vendors are paying for it. God bless them.
Really? How'd you do that? You just called a few vendors and said, look, I'm bringing a potential clients together, buyers.
I've got 130 buyers. Who wants to sponsor it? And they fall
Uh-huh.
over themselves to. Of course. Like,
Wow.
yeah. When would you else would you get like 130?
Let me ask you something.
from
Did you make
customers.
those calls or did Charlotte, your wife,
Which calls?
to the vendors to say, look, I want
We
you to
have
sponsor?
partners. We have partners.
Oh,
in
okay.
Red
They're
Card.
established partners.
So, but that's a process that my business partner and Andy and I, we
Another process guy.
Yeah. Well, we're from the English language part of the world, okay? You Americans don't know.
Right.
What about Andres?
Right. That and
gifts?
HR.
Gifts?
HR.
I hate that HR. That's low class. Okay. Andres, gifts? Gifts?
I think that in terms of what you're saying, I don't like gifts, but I think if there's a personal twist to it, and if it's obviously not something too expensive, I think it's fair for Christmas or any other time. So if Ivan is giving something relates to him, I think it's fine. And if I give a client like a business book that I say, hey Dualta, saw you on the show, you should really read this book. Best Andres.
You know what? Look, I've learned something, everybody. I just have to keep saying, everybody says they don't learn anything on this show. But I learned something from these two guys, a book or chocolates. Those are nice, modest gifts. They're not like bribes. They don't look like bribes.
I used to work for this corporate company in Australia, and we did a thing called Secret Santa. Do you have that in the US? Where like
Not in the US.
randomly, so randomly
Yes.
people. Yes. Okay. So randomly people, choose a gift and it gets selected around. Anyway, the manager went to open up her gift and it was a big black dildo. They didn't do Secret Santa anymore.
Wow.
They had
that's
no
horrible.
what kind of like conservative, super conservative? I thought you worked only in cool companies. Shouldn't be like ha 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 and everything is over. No, it was like
Everybody-
more not like this.
It wasn't good. He didn't last long, that guy, after that.
Who, the one who put it, or
Oh, the
But
one
you don't know who
the
put
one
it? I mean, in Secret
the-
Santa, it's like this. You don't know who put it, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know who
Those
put
things
it there.
don't. Those
It looked
things
like
don't
a
take
bottle of wine.
We used to do that in elementary
Oh, wrong
school.
party. Oh,
Yeah,
whoops.
there were no dildos in my classroom.
Hey,
Okay.
no, hey, I ordered like a case of whiskeys, so that's going to be going out to a couple folks as soon as
Okay,
you know,
so
it'll
he's
probably get
confessing.
in a few months with all these shipping issues.
Are
that
you
we're
giving
having.
them a bottle each or the whole case?
No, a bottle.
How much is it each bottle? How much is each bottle? Like $20 or $200?
No, it's like $30.
It's like,
Yeah, okay.
it's like Mexican whiskey. $5.
With him, it's probably true.
It's like,
Okay, Tinni.
Hey, regarding Andres had mentioned books. What I've done with a couple clients, because you know, a bunch of your clients, you just text them all the time. So we'll have a conversation about a book, and then I'll text them the audiobook.
Hey, let me ask you something. With Tinni, were you serious about having them spend time with you? Do you teach a free class or something like that?
No, I was more referring to like a dinner or an event or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. You've never been on the show before. What do you do?
I work in executive search, done both in Canada as well as Iceland, and then some consulting as well on workplace culture and HR as well.
Okay. What kind of positions are you placing?
Mid-management and up, everything from board executives and down to mid-management.
Oh, really? And any special industries?
Organically, we've been getting for the past 2 years now a lot of kind of tech and change roles. So hybrid tech and specific matters such as finance or operations.
If
and
you're
so on and so forth.
recruiting somebody, are you telling us you recruit someone who's a change management expert? I never see that term anymore, but it used to be hugely popular. Is that what you recruit, change management experts?
No, we haven't had a lot of those, but what I'm referring to is more, you know, we're getting roles that are part of a bigger push for change. So as well as, something like, you know, finance is trying to, you know, minimize the employees they have. You know, they want to see a change in the systems they're using. So they're getting like a CFO, controller or something like that on with more tech experience so that they can somewhat roll out the
I heard
change,
enough.
right?
Okay, I heard enough. Thank you. Okay. You know, this is related to, so I assume the next question was, do you ask candidates what they intend to wear to an interview? I'm going to guess everyone here is going to say no. Anybody?
No.
Nobody
No.
says. Okay, Andres gives them a list, it sounds like, of you know, grooming issues, right? You sort of send them an impersonal checklist. Is that right, Andres?
Yeah, I try to build trust with my clients, so we can have this kind of
Okay,
conversations.
there's nothing like make sure
but I
your
would-
bra fits properly so you're not uncomfortable during the interview. Like I've discussed that before. Okay. Let me see. Has anyone noticed an increase in LinkedIn profiles that don't accept in-mails? Anyone seen that problem? No?
I don't know.
My questions are far. Okay. Here's the client doesn't want
First
to
of all,
share.
email doesn't work, so it doesn't matter. It's probably
Yeah,
better for
okay,
your
that's
business
another
because
issue.
you know when you encounter that block.
Thanks, Michael G. Cox. The client, okay, look who did deign to come back. Okay. The client, well, let me just ask him,
Oh,
open up your mic
doesn't
and
want Michael G.
I
Cox
want to hear what you have to
speak.
say. Rich, if you were interviewing, or
What?
Rich, raise your hand so I know you can hear me, okay? If you're interviewing someone and she has bad hair, okay? Are you going to tell her before she goes to the interview, be it online or in person, that she's got to do something about her hair?
Yeah,
What
Yeah,
would you say?
How bad would the hair have to look, Rich?
it'd have to be pretty bad. I had a situation where a guy had really bad teeth, and the hiring manager was a friend of mine. So, you know, he interviewed. I said, listen, you just, you know, I told the manager ahead of time, quite frankly, teeth were all jagged. This is the first sales guy. And the manager went through all the interviews. The manager basically told me rather, listen, if this guy wants the job, he's got to get his teeth fixed. And so I basically told the candidate, I'm like, if you want the job, go get these bad boys cleaned up, get them capped, get them whatever. He did it. He got the job, and company went out of business 10 months later. But whole other problem.
that was a good.
Don't you
More or
say
less
you
a story.
never meet the
That was a twist.
Yeah.
you never
Go
meet the
Sarah.
candidates in person. I thought you always do a phone call. So how did you know? Because you always do phone calls, right? So how did you know
Yeah.
that he has bad teeth? It was coincident
But
that
this
you
was,
met him on
this was
Zoom?
after the first interview. It was after the first interview. The client had told me. So,
The client told
It
you
wasn't-
that.
with beautiful teeth.
yeah.
But how did you get this information? So the client called you and say, "Hey, Rich, this candidate has very bad teeth. Can you
Yeah,
do
they
something
did a
about it or
video-
what?"
this was years ago. I can't remember if this was years ago. I can't remember if the guy did a video call or he saw him face to face or whatever.
You know what? That guy was lucky. It was a good strategic investment.
It was.
Especially if he was single. Okay.
There
Or
you
even
go.
if he's married. Okay. Okay. Here's an interesting question. Finally, I think this one will get some traction with you guys. Okay. I have the opportunity. Recruiter says, I have the opportunity to participate in the online meeting at which the offer will be presented by the client. I've never been in this kind of meeting, so I'm not sure what I should do. I think that Ivan says he participates in the offer meetings. Am I right about that?
In the offer me, I mean, I participate as much as I can, as much as the client is comfortable with that. I try to be there, to see.
Has anybody
You know who
sat
does
in
that?
a meeting
Dave
with the
Perry does that. Dave Perry does that for all his big interviews.
Well, he's not here, so he can't tell us
I know,
what he
but he's
does.
the guy you need to ask that question to.
Okay, but I want to ask the people on the show, who is there? They let the client make the offer, but the recruiter is there as well. Anybody familiar with that scenario? No.
I
Okay.
wouldn't do it.
Not
but
on the regular, but yeah, I've done that.
executive search guys do it more often.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tinni's done it.
I just had a case where I would have loved if I would have been there, because it really was basically they offered too low money, and then the person was pissed about it, and then 2-3 days I didn't hear what was actually happening, because I was sure the deal is already closed, and they're like, yeah, so the candidate is very totally unhappy about the offer, and he's thinking about it for 3 days. I'm like, what? I didn't know about it. It was on Friday. Everybody's happy and everything
Oh,
is
it was
done.
the weekend.
So
But hold on.
we should be on this fucking offer.
That's a
calls, in my
separate
opinion.
issue, because you should have checked up right after the meeting. Tinni, what do you
Yep.
do when you're in there? Tinni, what do you do when you're in there in that meeting?
Well, sometimes you have to hold both parties' hands to get it through the finish line, right? So,
No, I don't know.
What-
Okay, that's why I'm asking the question. And if Andres
What do you-
prepared you
what do you
properly
wanna
for the
know?
show, he would have told you. No
What do you wanna
general
know?
statements here, okay? You tell us the details. We want to hear the blow by blow, okay? What happened? What happened?
What happened?
Yeah. I hold their hands. What does that mean? You're not literally holding their hands. What does it mean?
No,
Hey, that might be in the culture there. You never know.
you never know. Yeah, be sensitive, man. No, well, you basically just take part. You're there as somewhat of a middleman, right? So you can give advice to the client, and you can also give advice
Live. Okay,
to the
first of all,
candidate.
Michael G. Cox, the guy said he's placing people in Canada, okay? And I know something about that country, okay? Go ahead, Tinni. You're there live in vivo, okay? Tell us a story when something went wrong and you injected yourself into the process.
Well, just to be clear, it's not in all the searches. It's in some of them.
Fine.
And most of the time, especially nowadays, it's not actually in the room, right? So it's a back and forth. So the client's going back and forth. In some cases, it can be through me, right? So they're giving me the offer. I go to the client, to the candidate, and present it, get the feedback, go back, and
Just
so
so
on.
you know, the client, I asked a question about being right in the process, whether it's a 3-way phone call or something like that. Now you're backing out. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm not getting anywhere. Michael G. Cox, do you have any good questions? Ivan, anybody? Topics? No? Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead.
So we've been experiencing this surge in demand for recruiters, as Dualta can attest to. How are people holding up? And are recruiters, in your experience, are they feeling the squeeze of are they overworked, and or is it just Mardi Gras with all the business coming our way?
Overworked.
Overworked and Mardi
It's
Gras.
Mardi Gras. People are, look at these guys. They don't look stressed out. They're bathing in money.
You know what? That's I'm going to answer that because that's one of the questions I've got. I've noticed on the Facebook group, there's a lot of corporate recruiters saying that they're stressed out. They sound suicidal. Okay, they've got way more. They're not. First of all, they're not getting any candidates. These guys are used to posting ads. They're not getting any replies. When they finally get a candidate, they're getting ghosted. Or people are rejecting offers, or they're accepting them and not showing up on the first day of work. Okay, so I've never seen it like this before, but I with the corporate recruiters, they're freaking out. Andres, I think it's a good question. Anybody else want to get in on that?
The corporate recruiters are freaking out because they actually have to be proactive for a change. They actually have to pick up a phone, call people, send emails, actually respond quickly, not take a week. Actual real recruiting.
You want to expand on that, Rich? Because I'm making clips now, and if you say something really racy, I want to have a minute or two.
No, the good corporate recruiters like Amy and the good ones, they're being proactive. They're not just posting on job boards. Like, how many idiot recruiters are out here, agency recruiters too, just posting on job boards saying, look, I got 1 million people to call, and 99% of them are absolutely useless to what you're looking for.
Hey.
Sorry. Shh.
Let them do that.
Yeah. There goes Mike's big sales pitch. So why do they use him? God.
Figures that people are billing across the board are unbelievable. Everybody I speak to is having month-on-month success. So like this is the golden age. I interviewed Joe Mullings at the start of the pandemic, and he predicted it. He said, if you can survive to the other side of this, we're going to be going through the biggest boom ever. From what I can see from a recruitment standpoint, it's happening.
Okay, well, sorry, go ahead. Whoever was talking.
I was just going to say, without a doubt, I know in Pinnacle, is over, I think there's 10 or 12 or 13 of us that have done over $1 million already this year. It's, a lot of solo guys and what have you. It will never get better than it is right now. They overwork, yes, but you can command ridiculous fees, ridiculous engagement fees. You can dictate to clients the speed in which they're going to work, or you move on.
I think this is a man's club.
I was gonna say, ooh, the boys club or what?
Usually the case, Charlotte. You're one of our female heroes. Okay, in this show. You and Amy.
Well, Andreas is dressed up for you and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, no, look at that. Hey, I'm wearing a shirt with
you.
a collar. Check that out.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
I got a clean t-shirt.
And slacks,
Yeah,
no
Rick
less.
is like winning clean t-shirt.
I have to go talk to human beings face to face in a little bit. Ugh.
Yeah,
Oh
overrated.
my gosh.
Kids don't count.
Speaking of that, segue. There's someone who asked, apparently, if he can find a tool to hire female engineers where you just have to check a box and it filters people. Apparently, he thinks he's using something called Developer DB, and you just have to check off that you only want female candidates. I've never heard of.
Why don't you just do a Google image search for female engineers? Kind of works.
There you go.
Well,
There
most tools are not useful or useless, and most of these tech tools.
So nobody else has heard of that checkbox.
Rich, how are you getting on with Source Whale? You still loving it?
I'm still using Outplay more just because it was slowing me down doing the personalization. I really like what Source Whale does. But
The personalization though, do you not find that it is a bit more time consuming, but it does make a good difference?
it does and it doesn't. I think reality it does, but if I can hit 60 people opposed to 6,
Yeah.
the skill is just there. Like you can write a generic enough, a personal generic email that gets the job done. you know, it's, if I had more time, I think that, or I had or someone that worked for me that was a better writer, I think it'd be awesome. Personalization would be awesome. But I like what Sourcewell does a lot.
Yeah, we're going to go live with it soon.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a good tool. It's a
Okay.
good tool.
Andy, we lost your buddy Tinni. That's okay. But I just want to give you an opportunity. Is there anything else? I'm going to keep back
As the
checking with
guest,
you.
we want to give you an opportunity to speak.
Well, I've given him lots of.
Wait, before he
Have you
speaks,
guys
wait,
just
wait.
like have you taken over the show?
Before
These are
he
my
speaks,
expectations.
Animal, do you do know if the camera's off, people can still hear and talk, right? You act like you're not.
Okay.
Okay,
But
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
I
We'll
wanna-
be quiet. We'll be quiet.
No, that's okay. I got nothing really hot. That's why I keep asking if people have something. Here's a thing we've talked about before. If you recruit 3 candidates or even 2, and one of them you like, and one of them matches the criteria. I mean, you can't not present the person, but you don't like him, and you don't think your client should hire this person. Will you tell him or her, stay away from this person because you don't think they're going to last there? Ivan, I'll give you a shot first.
Why, like, you can never know. Like, why would you can never know? Like, I had this several times. Like, really, I really dislike this person, but the client hired the person, still there, everybody's happy. So you can never know what will happen. So why would you think such a thing? I mean, if like the skill match is there, if the like sort of like, I mean, if it's not complete, yeah, actually, if the skill match is there, then like the client should decide, in my opinion. No.
It would wipe out 90% of my candidates.
Andy,
Depends as
Andy,
well,
if you
like-
don't like the candidate personally, and you just don't think other
Yeah.
people are going to, would you tell them, say, I don't like this person, I don't think you should hire him, I don't think he's going to be there long term?
This just happened yesterday, actually, and so usually now, before I used to do it because I'm really, you know, I get the fear of you know, them blowing up later and me being blamed for letting them hire this person. So I can't lie. But this happened yesterday, and then I discussed it with Tinni, actually, and Tinni is always saying, like, he's reminding me, okay, you don't like this person, it didn't work at this. Those are really small data points, you know. So usually he will recommend for me not to do it, but I try to maybe plant like a seed, and if the client is like, "Why? What are you getting at?" I might go into it. But if they're like, "Oh no, I really like him. I'm really excited about this person," I might let it slide.
Okay, has it ever backfired for you where they hired somebody you don't like and it didn't work out?
It has happened, but usually it's been when they didn't call me before making the offer, sadly. And then it's hard not to mention it because you wanna remind them, but then you have to stay quiet also when they come
Okay,
back
that's
and ask
another
you to
issue
fill that
about
position
making the
again.
offer. I'm surprised they could make an offer without letting you know first. Tinni, and Andres said that you've got a strong opinion about this. Don't tell.
You're surprised about a client making an offer and you not knowing?
Yeah. Aren't you supposed to know?
Not always.
I just found out right now in a text message about an offer that a candidate received, and the
Really?
candidate was the guy that told me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did he take
Okay.
the job?
He's talking to him tomorrow, and he's not committed yet.
So
He'll
we're not
take the
having-
job.
We're
though.
not
He'll
having.
take the-
We're
Oh,
not
Charlotte.
having
Okay,
celebratory
Charlotte,
beer
you
yet?
you school to teach these guys something. I don't think you agree with the way they're handling their business. What about you? What's your opinion on that?
Well, no, I mean, we have it before as well. If the client and the candidate develop a good relationship, which you want, then they'll sometimes have the offer and you find out about it, you know, from the candidate or the client after they've had it, and you have celebratory beers. It's awesome.
There you
In
go.
in Rack to Rack, it's slightly different because sometimes they're better at pitching their own jobs or
Yeah.
their own come work for us because that's what they do. But in tech recruitment, which what I used to do, then I would prefer to do it myself.
Yeah, you buffer.
Okay, back to Tinni. It sounds
Yeah.
like Andy was saying that if you don't like somebody, you keep that to yourself. You don't tell the client. I'm not sure about this person's personality. I don't know if you're going to like them. I
Yeah,
don't know if
well,
they're going to fit.
it depends on what it is, right? I mean, my point in this is that if you think that you are good at reading people and knowing people, you're wrong. So what you have to do is present your data points and then help the client make up their mind and actually take the decision. So for you to not like someone, and that would be the deciding factor on not presenting them. That's crazy to me, because they might like them. They might actually respect how the candidate behaves or whatnot, right? So yeah.
And
I don't
every
agree, Rich.
feeling,
Oh, Ivan, go ahead.
every feeling like can be usually like rationalized, right? I mean, I had several times where I put like really like gives indirect answers or English level really low, and I mean it's a fact. And like, yeah, I didn't like the person because really this person never answered like directly a question. So I put like this as in my client notes, like as a clear negative, right? But still the company would interview the person, and then they can go back to my notes and say, well, Ivan at least like mentioned that this is a minus of this person, but yeah, so this is how you can do it, right? I mean, you can always say like precisely what is negative, and this will like very rarely be taken as a reason that, okay, because of this we reject the person. If a client does this, then fire the client. Because you were
I'm talking about
recruiter.
something different, saying, look, I don't like this person, okay? I don't care about
but why would
skills.
you do this? Is dumb. Like, yeah, but this is dumb. We are in business. Like, you should.
Rich,
it doesn't matter whether you like
me.
people or not.
Who are you with here? I'm always looking for you to agree with me, okay?
And what was your stand on this?
Rule him out. Say, look, I have to present him because he's got one, but I think you're not going to like this person, and I advise you to hire candidate A instead. What do you?
Again,
what's your take?
There's no black and white answer. You can't say this is yes for everything. But I have told clients, I'm presenting this guy because if either one, he'll go around me, and I'll tell the client that. But two, this is what I didn't like about him. You decide for yourself. And some clients will just like forget him. I'll just knock him off, and that's it. Other clients will be like, all right, listen, let's talk to him. I'm like, here's all the skills he's done. Here's the good, the bad, the ugly. I thought he was a jackass, but
that's pretty straightforward. I thought he was a jackass. And here's the issue Andres mentioned before. He says, I will tell them because I don't want it to come back on me that I didn't warn them. My contention is that even if you warn them, they're going to come back and say, we want, something was wrong here.
I had it happen years ago for a company. They basically, I told the client, I told the client, don't hire this guy. I'm not going to give you the warranty. And I sent an email saying the warranty is invalid if you hire this guy. If he quits day one, you still owe me.
You had replacement candidates from you?
Oh, no replacement.
No, I told him I was.
No. Did you have several like the second choice?
That's not the point. I said, don't hire my candidate. Like, I don't like the guy. It was a British company. I was like, this guy's a jerk. The VP, and I told this I sent it to the email to the VP of sales and the CEO. And the VP of sales basically told me to screw, and I'm hiring him anyway. I'm like, all right, do what you want, but there's zero warranty. They literally ended up firing the candidate like 30 days into it. And they fired the VP of sales about 15 days later. And we ended up going to replace both of them. But it was still, I did my job. I was honest. I told them the truth so I can sleep at night. And they do what they want. I couldn't be any more clear on why not to hire that guy.
Yeah, but you presented them. Like, when it was like you liked him, so you presented him, and then you're like, okay, I hate this guy suddenly. I don't understand.
Well, there's a lot of things that can happen in a period of time. This was going back 15 years ago, but I remember, the guy was a flake. I didn't particularly like him. It was one of these guys, I'm pretty sure he would go around me. I told him,
that's an issue. You have to present them, because if they're a bad person, they will go around you. Okay. So,
but then the end of the day, I want to tell them the truth. This is what my thoughts are. And, and then throughout the course of the conversations, I just disliked the guy more and more, not because he was a jerk to me. I just knew the guy was a lying sack of crap, and it wasn't,
That's very direct. Okay.
Call him as a team, baby.
Okay. How about this? Okay. This guy, he said, I love recruiters who do these three things. They've clearly made an effort to check and see if there's a match between me and the job they're working on before they approach me. Okay, this is the biggest complaint about recruiters, that they just mass mail people and they get inappropriate jobs, and they really makes them cranky and it makes them hate recruiters. But here's the other one that I want to focus on. They practice a soft sell approach, which means they take no for an answer. Okay. Does anybody want to comment on that? They take no for an answer. What's the opposite? Andy, you want to go first? You too busy there to answer?
I was writing in a question that I wanted to add.
Okay, well,
So go to
I
someone
can
else.
pass on you. Does somebody else? Tinni, do you want to? If you approach somebody, I don't know how you approach people, Tinni. Do you approach them through email or a phone call or whatever, and you present a position, and the person says, no, this isn't for me. Do you press back? Do you do anything, or do you just say, okay, great, maybe we'll speak again someday?
Yeah, I take the no and move on.
And you don't say, look, you know what? I think you should consider it for this reason, and I'll give you 3 data points, as everyone here likes to say.
Well, if I think it's a shoe-in, I might push a little bit, but then I'll let it go.
Okay, so you're an easy no. I always go ahead.
You know my answer.
I don't know your answer, Rich.
The first no is just everyone says no. That's your first, your first, someone calls you up. No, I'm not interested. Of course, that's what everyone says. Who wants to be sold, right? So, you get past the first no by saying, well, listen, if not for you, who? Here's the story anyway. You give them the pitch anyhow. And then if you ask them something, hey, would that be something you may be interested in? And I said, yeah, maybe they say no again. Maybe they say yes, who knows? And you go down your conversation to say yes. If they say no, it's like, hey, well, what would you be interested in? I mean, it all depends on the conversation. Some guys, I typically want to start off with a story about what the guy's interested in, but
you're going in only, they say no, you see no as a mindless reflex. So you come in saying, who do you know? And this is the job. You use that as a pretext to give more details. And then you re-present it for themselves personally.
Yeah.
And if they say no a second time, you don't continue to press. You
no,
back
I
off.
usually try to get 3 no's. Like if they say no the second time, I'm just like, oh, listen, with your background, I thought you'd be perfect for it. But again, if not you, who would you hire if this was, if you were hiring for this role, who would you hire? And
Tinni,
then they'll say,
Tinni, is Rich too pushy?
I don't think for his market, I would guess, but in our market space, there's enough of the talent usually that we search for. So moving on is so much easier, and just finding someone that actually is more open to the move. So I wouldn't necessarily say so.
But if they're more, are they more open, or you just haven't asked the right question, pushed the right button? Because you got to get past that natural reflex.
Yeah, I do agree with you though, right? Because some people are, they get cold feet real easily, or feel that this person might talk to my boss or my company, right? So sometimes you have to ease them into it, but it all depends on the no. You have to read the no. Is it
exactly
a reflex, or is it actually, So I would say, I would say,
Yeah, well, that's like, again, there's no black and white answer to it.
I like that. I like Rich's point there, though, that it's the first answer is mindless. It doesn't mean anything. Anybody else want to say something very clear about this? Anybody?
Just a personal thing. I've done this a few times where they'll say, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to work in that industry. And I say, okay, no worries. But if you know anybody, the base salary is probably only going to cap out about 175. On target is usually about 2x. So like, well, let's go ahead and talk about that.
Okay.
No, dude, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. So I struggle with now having to talk to this individual that tried, telling me to kick rocks right off the bat.
Here's anybody else.
Sometimes it's a dance, right? So sometimes you have to place the seed and then have them come back to you, right? So to your point, give the salary up, or
you do the
paint the
takeaway.
Picture that is,
once they say no, you kind of be like, you probably couldn't do it anyway.
I know, but I feel like maybe I overcommitted on the whole takeaway. Okay, you're clearly not. Okay, you know what? Forget about it. If you know somebody, then they come back, and I'm a little annoyed by the fact, Clearly, I have to get over that.
Anybody else? Anybody else on taking a no for an answer? Jerry says he takes no for an answer. but I know that if he's got
Everybody
something
does, dude. You're placing like less than 1% of the people you speak with.
Yeah.
No, recruiters are
No?
known for not taking no. Just like Rich doesn't take no for an
Well,
answer, Michael G. Cox.
Known for is one thing, but the reality of the situation is very different usually.
Agreed.
Okay, what about you? Yeah, okay.
Good.
Who's
go
listening
ahead.
to? Who's got their speaker on? Who's got their speaker on? Okay, it's gone.
No, it's
Hey, look,
not.
who's
Now
doing that?
batting for the
Who's wrecking the show? That hasn't happened for a long time. Dualta places recruiters. Do you look, if you're interviewing a recruiter, or when you teach managers to hire a recruiter, do you say, look, they have to have this sales skill. They have to be very persistent and a bit on the pushy side. Is that something you like, Dualta?
No, mostly no. You'll want them to be more consultative. So the market's definitely changed in training recruiters. They've definitely like most companies steer away from that aggressive salesperson, and they want them to be able to ask good questions, build relationships, and facilitate. But these are companies; they're not like a standalone killer. So it's slightly different, but most firms do prefer something else.
Yeah, I don't know what you did. Oh, it's consultative. Means nothing to me. Okay, it
Means that they can ask questions and understand something before they do the pitch, and not just go in and go, I've got this job, do you want it? No. Okay.
Okay, so you don't
fine,
go in with
fuck
the
off,
job.
right,
You say,
next
"Hi,
one.
I'm a recruiter. I'm not working on anything specific right now. That's not why I'm calling. I just want to get to know you." Is that what you're recommending? Is your
That's
approach?
if you're cold calling them. But it could be that they're on the database and they're calling through
That's
to
a different
some
story,
other
isn't it?
ruse.
That's a different story. Okay, that's a
You didn't
different story.
specify what stimuli
Now,
was.
15 minutes ago, Andy said he's got a
Love
question
Dualta.
that he wanted to ask. Go ahead.
I want to ask, like, companies in Iceland are just starting to measure time to hire or time to fill a role, and I guess that is more common elsewhere. And do you think it's beneficial for us as recruiters to like encourage that kind of the companies or of our clients to measure these things so they
like
see
Walter's
how
got
bad
something
they
to
are
say.
at filling roles?
Yeah, I would say yes, it makes perfect sense so long as you're taking every factor into consideration. The hiring manager dragging his or her feet, the company, and a myriad of countless other situations. Really, time to fill doesn't really tell you very much at all.
Yeah, it doesn't. But if you're selling search, or even like an exclusive search where you're able to go, okay, you have a time to fill thing that you have to do. Give me your diary. Let's get in the stages now. I know I can present candidates, and you control the outcome, and you get them to agree to it more than you would do otherwise. Then it's a benefit.
Okay.
Anybody else? No. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just want to add, Animal, to a discussion of taking no for an answer. Is that how do you communicate that to clients? Because my feeling is that clients are really touchy about hearing about people being having to be convinced to talk to them. Do you?
That's an
find
interesting
that?
issue. You mean you go in initially and say to your client, "This is my approach. I want you to know how I work." Does that fit with your brand image? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying Michael J. Cox manages to convince someone that said no 3 times to take a meeting. Does Michael J. Cox tell the client this fact or not, or withhold it? Because clients hate,
why
they
would
want to
you
be
tell a client
desired.
Yeah, there's no need to tell a client.
Right.
Well, so sometimes
Right.
there's a need when they're trying to act like they are the prom queen and everybody should be lining up to join them in a dance. You have to tell them, look, I've spoken to 50 individuals for this position over the past few weeks. They're not interested, and this is why. So just want to, you're complaining about the fact that I haven't provided you with enough candidates. Well, here you go.
And did we lose everybody, or am I the guy who's lost?
You're lost.
Hi.
You're
Okay.
lost.
Did I get? Okay, it's me.
Is he back yet?
Me. I don't know. Okay, am I back? So you guys were talking,
yeah.
okay? You continue. I mean, I don't know. Michael G. Cox froze like this for me. I don't know what where that were. Ivan, didn't you have something to say that if somebody is a prima donna, you let the client know, right?
I mean, if there's concrete stuff, like it must be. I mean, if it's concrete stuff, and I think it's relevant to mention, I do mention it. If it's just a
Good.
feeling,
Let me turn this on you. What if the client is a prima donna? Do you let the client know, hey?
There are
No?
none.
At the moment, there are
no
none
clients
exactly.
that act like that.
Anybody? No, everybody says they're going back to their clients and saying, look, I've spoken to lots of people. You got to realize that you're not the only girl on the block. Okay. We've only got guys here. So I'm going to say that. Sorry, I'm oversensitive. You're not the only nice person on the block. There's lots of competition. Do people go back and say, look, you have to get off your high horse? Anybody do that?
Go back to the client, tell them they're crazy. The demands are too high.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's like a daily conversation.
Yeah, you're the I forgot we got the king of client rejection
Yeah.
here.
Well, but listen, how could you make a ton of deals if you're working with clients that don't understand reality? What are you? I mean, what are you? I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you're just twiddling your thumbs. Then, I mean, all these recruiters are so afraid of just rejection or reject them. Fuck them. They're not doing they're not going to make your deal happen. Then why work on the deal? You know, it's like being in an abusive relationship. I'm like, why put up
But
with it?
liking it.
Exactly. You know, I mean,
I love hearing this stuff. Okay, I mean, it's like a bedtime story to me. I love it. Okay, I eat it up.
Everyone likes the rough stuff.
Maybe one of the underlying issues is that we all want to feel busy, and if you don't really, and it's not really
Bingo.
happening these days or this year. But if you had nothing else to work on, well, at least you got that one impossible
You got a
job
prayer.
with that one company that maybe someday will
Yeah.
come to their senses.
Yeah, it's like this time, well, in the height of the pandemic, you know, hey, any port will do. You know, I mean,
What's
but,
the
you know, in this market, you're crazy.
good quote?
Okay, I haven't asked this for a long time, but it relates to what we said a minute ago about when people, it was very common. I haven't heard complaints about it for a long time, but you get on your recruiting call, you're making a cold call, and you say, I'd like to talk to you about a position I'm working on. The first thing they say, just like Rich said, they have a mindless reaction. They say, how much?
I'm not interested.
How much? No. How much?
Yeah.
Does anybody actually tell them?
No.
Because there's a lot more demands that recruiters are transparent about salary these days and compensation. And so there's no reason not to tell them. Lou Adler always says, don't tell them. Say, this is a career issue, not a money issue. Okay. Either of the Icelandic guys want to take that up? How do you handle how much?
I think it depends. In some cases, if I know that, or if the feeling is that the candidate is not going to take whatever it is, I might just throw it out just to kind of end that conversation, to not waste my time and theirs, right? So it depends.
Anybody else? No. Okay.
Yeah, it's very rare that it makes sense.
It feels crude to go straight to the number, but you could say, you know, usually we'll say, I mean, there might be some flexibility, you know, what do you have now? I like to ask people what they're earning. I know that's faux pas, but
Well,
I might do that.
No, but if they ask just that, where do you need to be? Is that your only reason for making a change?
Yeah.
You know, if that's your only reason for making a move, then we can save ourselves both some headache and heartache. You know.
Okay, but the thing is, people say now, look, I don't want to waste my time talking to you unless I know in advance that we're both on the same page. And that goes for the recruiter as well. Why talk to someone who's completely out of your range? Okay,
Yeah,
so
if your major only reason for moving is purely for money, you're going to get your heart broken. So if you want to,
I don't think that's true anymore, Rich,
that's
because
100% true, more than ever.
there's
More than ever, because in this market, there's so much competition. Everyone's getting multiple offers. If they're only going to the highest bidder, your client may not be the highest bidder.
You
but it may
didn't
be
say
the
that,
highest
okay?
bidder.
You said, are you moving for money? Because if you
That's
can
what
make
I-
30%, if you can make 30% more than your current employer is paying you, people are being lured away. That's a,
But it shouldn't be your first question. If that's your only reason for moving, you should follow up with the question of, well, what do you need? What are you looking for to make a change? You know,
I want 30% more than I'm earning now doing the same kind of work. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're, I don't know,
That's the
anybody
only-
want to,
if that's the only reason for moving, you're going to get your heart broken 9 out of 10 times.
anybody want to?
I agree with. I agree
ahead.
with Rich on that. That you know the worst deals are done at the height of the market. Like when there's. I think it's true for candidates, and I think it's true for real estate probably also. It's like that's when you get the people buying things unseen or moving just for money to make a quick buck. Yeah, so I agree. I think it's.
I mean, think about it. If
something
you have
there's-
no compelling reason to move, you know, and I mean cut you off, but if you have no compelling reason to move other than that 30% raise, when you tell your boss you're moving and he knows it's going to cost him more to find someone, now you're going to fight with a counteroffer. And you know what? He's probably talking to multiple companies too. You know, and is it the highest base? Is the highest getting into a battle for money before you know anything about the guy other than his resume, the insight about the person. It's a losing battle.
Okay, well,
and if he wasn't talking to others, he is now.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Do you
that's
then
an
regularly-
interesting point. Go ahead.
Do you really regularly, if you feel like, okay, there is nothing more in motivation to change than the money, you really just say, yeah, by the way, I'm gonna send you like later offer. So right now I have nothing for you. Bye bye. Or how do you solve the like conversation that you like wanna? I mean, end the conversation because, yeah.
Yes, I mean, if the guy's on about the money, I tell him, listen, if that's your only reason we're moving, I'm probably not interested in wasting either of our time. You know.
You know what? That Gergely Oros is not an idiot, okay? And he talks to a lot of IT people, and he's in Europe, just like 3 of our participants today. And he says he encourages people to move for their money right now, and it's happening like crazy. And they're getting huge increases that their own employers, current employers, contrary to what Rich is saying, won't give them. Okay, so maybe it's different where you're located. If you're in Switzerland or Czechoslovakia, although Ivan's in Switzerland and he hasn't said that.
They'll
okay?
probably get it from their current employer, and they'll probably stay.
Like the
And
reason
that's
most people stay
okay.
married, it's cheaper to keep her, you know. It's
Well, now that you're saying sexist stuff, I'll bring up Gergely said. Gergely posted, he didn't use these words, but he talked about something that you can find a lot of articles about. Women engineers cannot handle coding interviews. And here's a quote he posted. It causes me and a lot of women and other underrepresented groups severe anxiety and psychological damage. Okay. Ivan, do you support coding interviews? Lots of people say they're completely irrelevant to the job anyway. So it's a waste of time for anyone. What do you say? You're an IT recruiter.
Yeah. So, I mean, people,
Watch
It's
yourself. I
defi-
don't want you to say anything that's going to hurt you. That's
a
true.
client of mine who solves the situation extremely well. They do a pair programming part and they do a very short homework part, such that people who are not good at this live stuff, because it's really stressful. It's like somebody's watching you and you are like coding, and it's like very like super stressful. So they kind of like, because they know such people exist, they give them also the chance to code something on their own, like very short task, such that they get a full view. Yeah, but it's absolutely true. The cutthroat interviews, which was only like about live coding, like people that are maybe really good programmers, but at the same time very nervous and like basically talking to people, they like then.
Okay. Is there
basically
a sex issue related there? They don't like being judged by
I don't
men.
have enough data to say.
I remember I
that.
read about this a few years ago already, and he came out saying he would have been opposed to that idea, but now he's completely on side. Okay. Anybody else? We're getting near to the end. Anybody? Okay, I'm going to introduce everybody again. Andres, you don't have a domain name, do you? Do you have a domain that you want to tell us? No?
Not really, but if you're
Not
in Iceland,
really.
hit me up.
Okay, if you're in Iceland, okay. Tinni is also in Iceland, although he recruits around the world, it sounds like, in Europe and North America. Ivan Gulenko, IT recruiter in Switzerland, he made his own ATS. It's called Klang, KLANG.SO. I know Rich checked it out. Lots of people are writing nice things about him. It's okay. Tinni, Tinni. Do you have a domain name, a URL, Tinni, that you want people to know? I should have told you at the
No,
beginning.
just find me on LinkedIn.
Tinni, yeah. Are you the only Tinni? Like it was Johansson or Johansson with all the S's and stuff. Sorry, it's confusing for me.
Don't be so apologetic. Just try it out. It's a game. Just try
Okay.
looking it up and see what comes up.
Tinni, Tinni. He's the only one I've ever heard of. Michael G. Cox, the sales recruiter. I want to mention that as I've talked in the last 2 weeks, Michael G. Cox just bought Derek Zeller, the amazing Zeller, as his domain name, and unfortunately, I don't think Derek's going to be using it, but everybody's sad about that. But it was just an ironic thing that happened. I guess that's it, everybody. Thanks very much for coming on, Iceland especially. Bye-bye.